Welcome to Changing the Sales Game podcast on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, thanks so much for joining us this week. So, and I hope as you listen to the show, and you guys know I'm on this mission, right? I want to change that word and that feeling of sales being icky, sleazy, and manipulative and in your face, which is just the ick factor, right? It's got to stop. So for me, I really want you to feel that sales is really coming from a place of love, care, and respect. And if you're not doing it that way, please stop and try my way, because it really does work. But to help you on that journey and really that mind shift change of that icky to that really powerful coming from love, care, and respect, please take my free communication style assessment. You get 2 reports. One shares your natural superpowers, your natural communication style, how you show up and what that strength is. Additionally, you'll get a report on your lowest style, which is really usually our blind spots, which probably will be more informational or more helpful for you as well as you communicate with clients, prospects, whoever, even family members. So go to whitmanassociates.com/CSA. That is my gift to you. Now, my motivational quote today is by Sarah Tavel. And Sarah says, obvious realization, content that starts as video can be downgraded to audio in your pocket or as a podcast, which can be converted to text via transcriptions or blog, but content can't flow in the other direction. Therefore, to max your audience for any content, start with video. So a few years ago, the owner, Mary Lou, the owner of Web Talk Radio, she was coaching me, right, how to become a better host and how to create this really engaging show. And I think she's done a pretty good job of not manipulating me. I'm malleable, right? She's created this great host. I'm always hopeful and constantly raising the bar. Well, she was coaching me, and in the middle of it, she said, yeah, you know what? You need to start recording your show using video. My response, it was like I entered a time warp, and I'm thinking, did she just say video? And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, that's never going to happen. You want people to see me? That's just crazy. It's never happening. Well, of course, a couple of minutes later, I succumbed and I agreed that, you know what, maybe that's the next step for me. And I have to tell you, after going to the video and creating the YouTube channel, my listenership did increase. And I think it's because people can see your eyes. They see your body language. It's much harder to be inauthentic when there's a visual component. So you're all thinking, oh my God, she's going to talk about video. I hate video. I hate pictures of myself. And you go down that rabbit hole. Well, guess what? I became super comfortable during COVID because of Zoom and my show and all those other things. And it's just such a viable resource and needed resource for business owners. So do not fear. I have an expert to break this down into actionable pieces so you too can create some binge-worthy videos. Now, my guest today is Nina Froreep. If I didn't say that right, Nina, you can correct me. Nina has, say it again.
It's perfect.
Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Woohoo! Connie scores, right? So, Nina has seen it all, from the early 90s on independent features to big national TV commercials, corporate mega shows, and Emmy award-winning documentary films, including one she produced and directed called Abraham's Children. Today, she's super excited to enable business coaches and consultants and service-based entrepreneurs to grow their business with fun and easy video marketing so they can attract their ideal client. So Nina, thank you so much for coming on. This is an important topic.
Yes, it is. I think so.
Yeah.
I'm slightly partial, but yes.
I know. A little smidge present. But you know what? And that was a true story when Mary Lou said, you need to do video. Yeah. And of course, like everybody, I don't like pictures. I don't like videos. I move around a lot, right? I'm very animated. The Jersey voice, like all of those things. It's like, really, can we make this any more painful for me? So how do you get people to, like myself, to say, whoa, I understand the fear. I understand you don't like the way you sound or look, right? All of those things are natural human responses. How do you combat that with your clients?
Excellent question. Actually, one of the biggest, problems or challenges that we face. And just to add to your experience, when I was over, just over 50 and I started doing what I do now, which is video marketing, the last thing I wanted to do is show up in front of the camera. I had a 30-year career as filmmaker, safely tucked behind the camera, and that was just perfectly fine by me. But let's face it, especially if we're service-based businesses, we are the product. So we need to show up to give people a chance to get to know us. So I think there's a couple of things going on here. I think number one, a slight mind shift set where no, we're not Oprah Winfrey and we're not Ellen and we're not, whatever sort of talk show hosts and amazing actors we see on video and talking. We are just, a small business owner. We want to have a chance to be heard and seen and establish ourselves as an expert. And that's exactly what we're doing. So people are not working with us because we're skinny, because we're young, contrarily so. They probably want to see a little bit of gravitas. Number three, gravitas, and I mean that physically.
I love it. I got a lot of gravitas over here with the wrinkles.
Yeah, the gravitas.
I love that word.
Yeah. I'm going to start using that actually. And so, yes, I get it. I remember when I shot my first videos, which was a hideous, full day production to get 2 measly little videos, which today I would do in 15 minutes. I actually went and got my first facial ever in my life. I was so shell shocked to see myself, on video, hear my voice. It was awkward. But the good news is the more you do it, the more you disassociate yourself from yourself. Yeah. And quite frankly, about a half a year into, creating video for my company, I caught myself laughing at myself saying something on video as I was editing. And that for me was such a pivotal moment because I'm like, I just totally disassociated myself. And I wasn't looking at, me again, editing, but I was actually looking at a person being funny.
Yeah.
And that happened to be me. And I felt okay, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. So, bottom line, you get over it by doing. And I see with a lot of people, once they put out those first couple of videos, the immediate effect and the immediate engagement that they get with people they want to be working with is so fantastic that they normally just they get over themselves, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting because after she told me that, right. And of course I fought her because that's who I am. I'm like, I'm not doing that. You're out of your mind, woman. Right. Of course she won. Right. I buckled. But here's the interesting thing. Again, the listenership did rise, which was kind of cool because I guess they could see the face that goes with the voice, even though a lot of people still listen on Apple Podcasts, a lot of people will watch on my YouTube channel, which that's kind of cool. But I think the most important piece, and COVID helped with this, and I bet a lot of my listeners are saying, even my corporate clients, we did a lot just digitally where I did some training digitally and they had meetings digitally because you had to stay in contact. You couldn't just say, okay, no more training. Okay. No more meetings. We had to figure it out. So I think that the whole video thing has become a little bit more comfortable because we're on Zoom. And and this is even the funnier thing. And I do want to ask you about the return on the investment, but I have found that with the podcast and then with the YouTube doing the video, people started listening to me last year because with COVID, I was doing a lot of virtual speaking. And then they were like, oh, I like this one. It's like she's talking to me, right? So, when people feel that way, they're clearly my ideal client. Well, they started listening to the podcast, started watching me on YouTube. And then when I run my workshop and then at the end, I make my offer, people were jumping in and I was saying, oh, how'd you find me? Thinking somebody sent them my way. They go, oh, we've been following you for 6 months. We've been following you for a year. And every time I see you, it's like you're talking to me. So there was this no trust factor that I was building so that when they came on the workshop, they already felt like they knew who I was. So the podcast, right, and the videos are creating that return on the investment by building that no trust factor super fast. How can you measure? How do you help people measure the ROI when they start incorporating the videos?
So, I mean, before we get to the ROI, just to what you just said, I want to speak into that quickly.
Sure.
So, yes, it creates, and this is psychologically proven, right? So, if you meet people over and over again, you become more familiar with them.
Yeah.
And people actually, it's like meeting in person. Video has that same effect on the psyche.
Yep.
So every time they see you on video, they become more familiar with you. You are a more known entity. So that's number one. And number two is what video also does, which is something that I only realized once I started doing it for myself, is people self-select themselves. So if somebody thinks that, you know, my nose is too big and they hate the way I am or the way I show up, they're not going to want to work with me. So they're not going to reach out to me. So we don't even waste that amount of time of, you know, sometimes you get on the phone with somebody after you've like followed their content and you really like it. And pre-video, you'll get on a phone call or, you know, meet them and you'd be like, I didn't really jive with that person. You save yourself that. And that's why I talk about attracting your ideal clients. And that word ideal is really important. So in the introduction that you read in the beginning, I always say like the fun and easy is really important and the ideal is really important.
Agree.
And the fourth word, which I really love, but my coach made me not put it into the statement, is consistency. And that's where the ROI comes in, the return on investment. So to your question, you know, what you need to be able to measure something in order to get a sense of what your return on investment is. So I always say, if you are going to use video as a tool, it's just a tool, right?
Agree.
In your marketing toolbox, make sure you use it consistently. And by consistently, I mean, you know, once a week, every week on the same day at the same time. Or twice a week if you can, even better so. And that also very much how often you put out video or content in general also depends on your sales cycle. How long is it? How short is it? The shorter, the more video, the longer, the less video. That's a short, there's really super short answer to that. But if you put out video consistently, then you can start looking at your metrics. So we do all our selling on that is not referral based on LinkedIn. And we have a platform that reads our LinkedIn stats and it goes very granular. So I can see how everything performs. And I can see that if I put up video content, it performs in terms of views extremely poorly. Now, I don't care about views because views are a simple and only vanity metric. Because when a view in a text-based message or post, it's just people scrolling by it. It is not even them stopping and reading it. So who cares? With video, it is if you just click on it and engage with it for at least 3 seconds. Who cares? But where it becomes interesting is my engagement, meaning comments, over triples when I put up a video. And that is the metric I'm interested in, because if somebody comments, then I can grab them and I can have a conversation with them and I can eventually get them into, you know, one of our free masterclasses or a challenge, or even, you know, directly into a phone call with me, which doesn't happen that often. People first want to kind of sample you,
test you,
and test drive you. So, you know, that is really where I know I have return on investment when I put up a video and I have 20 comments.
And you know what's funny, Nina? Because I do both, right? I do the the text posts, right? And then I do throw video in, right? My show is a video. So twice a week, people really can get to see me, whatever the topic is and how I articulate, right? So there really is that like, no trust factor. I think podcasting is great space also because it's hard week in, week out to be something you're not. Right. So people get your vibe, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't keep up being a fake. And that's what I also tell my clients. To our first point of, you know, showing up, you just show up as you. I mean, my preparation for this is intellectual preparation. And yes, I'm going to make sure that I comb my hair and I put some lipstick on. But, you know, I want to show up the way I show up when somebody gets on a Zoom call with me. And I would say my biggest compliment is if somebody says to me, oh my God, you look just like you doing your videos. I'm like, okay, then I've done my job, right?
Absolutely. And that's the other thing too. I think when people see us as we speak, again, you are who you are, right? That's how you show up. And I think that's where that exchange of energy, right? I call it the subconscious conversation. They're feeling your vibe. They're feeling where you're coming from versus just text, which is just so one dimensional, where we're really 4-dimensional. We live in a 4-dimensional world when you think about it, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
how, sales is my jam. So how can video support the sales process when you work with your clients? Because that's important too, right? We want to get that ROI, so we have to make more sales, right?
I mean, and this is something that I talk to my clients about a lot. So we talk less about the equipment part, because that's just, again, it's just a tool. You want to get to it, but that's it. So we talk a lot about the strategy around a video creation, and of course the content and how to post and all that. So video is hugely important in the sales process at different stages, right? So if you're just creating awareness and establishing yourself, as somebody who can fix whatever or address whatever itch or scratch or whatever they have, or itch, I think is the word I'm looking for. So if you put out videos on social media that, let's say, I always tell my clients, do first of all, bulk produce. Don't just shoot one video, shoot a whole bunch of them. So a great way to get started is to take your tip sheet. Let's say you have a lead magnet that you give away to get people's emails, so you can then, permission-based marketing, put them on your email list. It's great to take a lead magnet like that. And if it's, a lot of people have, 10 top tips to do XYZ. You take that and you make 11 videos out of it, an introduction video and per tip 1 video, because these social media videos are not supposed to be much longer than a minute. I actually just saw a stat that LinkedIn videos that are 60 seconds or less have a 60% higher chance to be watched to the end. Wow. And since we have our call to action normally at the end, you want people to watch the end.
Absolutely.
And then I say every single video that you create, you don't create, it's not a vanity exercise. It's a purpose-driven exercise. So I create a video because I want somebody to do something after they've watched the video.
Love it.
And without a call to action, people are going to do absolutely zilch.
That's right.
So so sometimes it is, the more salesy thing of, I invite you into our free, blah, blah, blah workshop or video challenge or whatever. But very often my call to action is, again, geared towards getting engagement. So I'll say, I'll talk about the topic, let's say how to look good on camera. And then I'll say at the end, so I would love to hear from you in the comments below, how you have adjusted or what you have done to show up better on camera. Like, are you, your framing, whatever. But I'll ask just one very succinct and simple question that people can answer quickly, because all I want is that engagement, and not make it hard on people trying to figure out how the hell they can engage with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's true. The views, the likes, all of that, it really comes down to the engagement. And it was interesting. A couple of weeks ago, I was so honored. I won an award, the People's Choice Award. You saw that right out of Canada. Yes, yeah. Thank you. And I won the international for the United States. And, I was so honored. And my LinkedIn, Facebook, emails, people that I haven't seen, but I'm on LinkedIn. So birthdays and stuff like that, we interact. And the love, I said to my husband, I was getting emotional, because people we miss you, and well-deserved, and so much more, good things coming your way. And I was like, oh my goodness, all of that love, right? That's the engagement we want. We want that no trust factor, not just, yes. And I had a bunch of likes too, and hearts and all of those things, but people literally took the time, Nina, to write to me. And that moves me, because that means that they care about me. They care about what I bring to the table, and maybe how I can help them as well. Right. But it's it's a very moving experience. And when the other thing I'll share, every time I post a video, it's cute because people are like, oh, you look great. And I'm like, I do, don't I? Joking around, of course, right? But it's nice to hear because, again, people that haven't seen you can see you and think, wow, you really do look great. You look healthy, you look wonderful, wishing you continued success. It gives them an opportunity to engage at that human level. And I think we're missing that sometimes when we just do the text or the blog or whatever it is.
Yeah. And it's hard, it's hard to stand out. And I mean, and again, I mean, we do video. That's our first thing, but we also very much focus on LinkedIn and helping people with their video on LinkedIn, because that's what we do day in, day out. And that's where we get our clients. So we feel very strongly that we can sort of, give people an extra benefit and booster by sharing what our experience is on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is sort of the last vestige of all the social media platforms where you can actually stand out organically without having to invest in ads. And we don't believe in ads. We don't do ads. I don't touch ads. Yep. We just do everything organically, and we do pretty much everything inbound. We do very, very little outreach where we actively reach out to other people. We just really invest all our energy in having phenomenal content on LinkedIn, be super educational, and absolutely grab those people who like or comment on our stuff and engage with them in a conversation to see if they might be interested in working with us.
Absolutely.
And it just makes it makes also for such a joyful sales process.
Yes.
And that is something that I know speaks to your heart as well, because we're coming from a point of view of how can we serve you? And if we can't serve you and we're not the right people for you, I have several video marketers I refer people to who do the nuts and bolts of shooting and editing and all that stuff. I don't do that. I used to, but I don't do that anymore. So for me, it's really about the enabling people and coaching them to learn how to do it themselves, and they get whatever support they need, and even ongoing if they want to. But we're not a one and done, like, here's your video, bye.
Right.
That, to your point of return on investment, it just doesn't work that way.
Nope.
The days of, even in the beginning when I started this, people would come and said, like, I need 3 videos. I need one for my landing page, one for my, LinkedIn profile, and one for, a sales video. And then the sales videos, they'd be like, it needs to be 10 minutes. I'm like, no. Because, a lot of people come from that mindset of packing it all into one piece. And that's why I always say bulk produce and make your tip sheet 11 videos or 10. I
love
videos.
it. It's a great recommendation.
You can even take your FAQ from your website. Like, if you have most frequently asked questions section with, like, what we all quickly have 10 or 15 of those, right?
Sure.
Each single one of these is a video you can put on social media with the link to the offer that it's talking about. Absolutely. I mean, it's there's content up the wazoo. So that is the easy part. And then as you get more comfortable, then you can go into the more opinion pieces, etc. And I tell you, whenever I do opinion pieces, they do like, and if I do like how-to pieces or tip pieces, they perform really, really well.
Yeah. People, and it's funny because we're so darn busy. Yeah. Information, there's not a lack of information out there. Google it, you got the information. Yeah. Information is nice. For me, I want the results, man. And to get the results, you have to give people, here's the info. Now, this is what you do with it, right? Here's the action step. And when you take action, that's when the results come. And I'm all about moving the needle. What's the results that we could generate for you? Not a year from now, next month. Like, what do we need to do now to really get that momentum going? And I just want to comment. So I just rebranded and I had to do a new sales page and all this. And the person said, you need pictures. Again, pictures. And she looked at me as we were having our conversation, and she goes, I'm not sending you to the electric chair. I'm like, yeah, but you are. Just by the way, you are. I don't really like pictures, right? Yeah. So she says, well, you need to go and do it. So of course I had a local friend. She had published a book and I loved all of her pictures. And so I said, can I have your photographer? He's just very fun. And I think he might be able to help me because I hate pictures, right? See, hate, that's such a bad word to use. Net, he did some of the shots in the house and, the makeup and blah, blah, blah. They were okay. But then we went out and we did what he calls lifestyle shots. Yeah. And we went into a local town and there was like a florist with all of this greenery outside. And, you know, he had a picture of me coming out. We did a picture at a little cafe with a cup of coffee, and they had chairs outside. All of these just, and he had measured the lighting and everything, and the natural lighting. I couldn't believe the pictures he took of me were freaking amazing. And I have never liked pictures of me. So the reason I'm saying this is that by the end of the shoot, he said to me, you know, you're getting really good at this. I said, why? And he goes, all I do is he does like a hand pose, at like he makes a gesture, and I know what he was talking about. So I shifted my body, or I moved my hands that way, or I did like a thoughtful, whatever he wanted me to do. He goes, you're becoming like a little, what's the fashionista, like a little video pictureista, right? So the pictures came out amazing because I got more comfortable. And this is what Nina is saying, everyone. The more you do it, it just becomes easier. It's that reiteration. Now, if you do a video and you don't do it for a year, you're going to still feel that angst, right? But if you do the videos, and I love the recommendation Nina made, do several, like take your 11 tip sheet and do 11 different videos on it. Because when you do them in a bulk like that, it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. So by the end, you're on, right? You're just on your mission. So I think that's another piece of the puzzle, right, Nina, is that comfortableness of doing the video.
And when you do, you know, and in the beginning, you might not get through 10 videos, you might get through 2 or 3 only. But what it really does, it's also, it helps you, if you're doing several, it's a huge time savings. Yeah. Because the time spent is not the biggest time spent, is not the shooting, but very often it's until we get more comfortable with it, or we have a setup that we just can turn on and go. It's the setting up for us women, putting on a little makeup if we choose to do so, or do our hair, and getting mentally ready. So if you're going through all of that and you're setting up maybe a light, or waiting for the perfect, light situation, like I have a huge window over here, then you might as well create, quite a few videos to maximize your time. Yeah. Also afterwards with editing, it's just much easier. Yeah. Whether you do it yourself or you send it out to an editor, it's infinitely cheaper to give an editor 10 videos than to give him one. He's probably going to do 10 videos just about for the price of one if you just gave him one. So the other thing, it's interesting you bring up pictures. And this is something I also wanted to mention when we were talking about that earlier. I find, because you said you're moving a lot, that I do lousy with still photos. That's just not my thing. And I find that a lot of people who also don't like having their picture taken do much better on video, because video, a picture is always just that second of a moment.
That's exactly right.
And I always end up like doing one of those. Yeah. But with the beauty of video is that we come across with our essence much more so. And it's an ongoing thing. So like, I'm a huge hand talker. And for me, I feel that if I'm on video, I come across as much more approachable, likable, etc. Yes. Because I'm also a very straightforward person. That is much harder to capture in a photo. And it takes much. And I tell you, the difference between a high paid videographer and a low paid videographer might be the lighting setup and all that stuff. But with a photographer, you can see the difference immediately, because they need to capture that one perfect moment, right? And just sitting there and shooting bursts and bursts and bursts of photos is not going to solve the problem either. So for a lot of us, we actually come across much better on video than we do on photo. That's basically the bottom line, what I wanted to say.
And I agree with that. I am so much, which is so funny, right? Because a couple of years ago, Mary Lou was like, you're going to do video. My heart stopped. I was like, this chick's out of her mind. I am not doing video. Oh yeah, wait, you think I'm doing video, right? Like in my mind, I'm thinking, go into defense mode. It was ridiculous. And now I am much more comfortable on video, because you know what? I am who I am. And I think I just, if you like me and you think what I'm saying makes sense, I'd love to work with you. And if I don't, if I exhaust you because my energy is so high, okay, you're not my ideal client. I love you anyway, right? So I believe in the video as well. The pictures, much harder for me. I just want everybody to understand, the more you do something that's like, because that is so out of my comfort zone, those still shots. It's painful, Nina. I'm just getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. The video, same thing. Doing the show on video, when I got on Zoom, everybody's like, oh, your lighting's so good. And I go, well, I have a mic, I have a light because I do a podcast, right? So you have all the right equipment. Next question. What equipment do people need to really get started and create that quality video? We have about 4 minutes.
I mean, in my opinion, not much or none. I mean, we all have a phone in our back pocket, a smartphone. The smartphone is your camera. And then I forgot to turn it on. I have like a little light like this. It's a Lume Cube. And I don't have an affiliate link. I wish I did. And you just want to make sure that you're well lit. And then what I do, so the 2 things I recommend to my clients is, I have it in the other room, is a little desktop tripod. Make sure that it gets high enough so you are eye to eye with your lens. That's super important. You don't want to be talking down or up, and you don't want to do this one. Which, no. And then a light like this, especially as we're going into the winter months, it can be very helpful. Although I have massive light coming through this window, so I'm pretty good. So basically, not much, and you can also just. I use a desk lamp that has a nice big, face like this. What you don't want to do, and I am super passionate about this, you do not want to have a ring light, especially if you're wearing glasses. And ring lights were never, ever, ever, ever meant for photography or videography. Ring lights were originally created for makeup people. So, and the ring light, it gives you alien eyes, whether you wear glasses or not. So, if you look closely, you see the light reflect in your pupils. The whole reason we create video is so we connect with people. And if you have alien eyes because you've got those rings in your pupils, not much connecting going on because you just look really weird. And people might not even see it, but they feel it. It comes across. So I'm a big anti-ring light person.
I love it. I love it. And the other thing too is I do think you need to invest in a quality mic because you don't. Okay. Oh, good. Share with me. Why?
So the mics that are included in our phones, our smartphones today, have a better quality than anything you buy under, I would say, $150, $200 on Amazon. So we all have fabulous microphones in our phones and our laptops for the record. So and with the professional mics, the mistakes that can happen by not setting it up properly or being too close and over modulating and all that stuff. It's just not worth it. Now, sometimes people just want to do something good for themselves and spend a little money and feel special and have that nice mic. And believe me, I did the same thing. I bought a $400 mic. I used it once and then I put it in the closet. I'm like, I could not, and I have a super trained ear. I could nary hear the difference between my built-in microphone in my laptop and what I bought for $400.
Fascinating. Now it's interesting because I have a 3-floor home and my office is in the back and I have a patio. So they, like this morning, when we first started recording, they were blowing after they had, vacuumed. They didn't vacuum. They mowed the lawn. We don't vacuum lawns here in New Jersey, but they were blowing. And this microphone, it's noise canceling, except for it only grabs your voice. So this has saved me more times because I always record on a Friday and that seems to be when they mow, although I think they mow every day. So this microphone has really saved me because it cancels out all of that ambient noise around me. So yeah, depending on your situation, I know I have a colleague, she lives in New York and every time we're on, if we're recording a show, you can hear the ambulances going by. So she's like, I have to go out and get that microphone because you never know. You're living in Manhattan. There's constantly noise outside, jackhammers and stuff going. So I think it depends on the setup. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so if I'm shooting video, then I can control it because my videos, again, they're not supposed to be much longer than a minute. And so you
True.
have a directional versus an omnidirectional microphone. And again, omnidirectional is one that, grabs all the noise, which are most of the microphones we work with. The directional ones, if you're not absolutely perfectly proper in front of that microphone and speak into it at the right angle, you're just going to get yourself into more trouble than it's worth. And then you'll have videos that you shot or a show that you did where your audio isn't heard properly because you weren't like smack in front of it. And
Right.
again, with video, I don't want to see the microphone. If anything, it's going to be a tiny little clip here. Very often people like put the clip and then you see the cable like going down as well. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I love it.
And I just really think the less equipment, the less mistakes you make, the less oops-a-loss you're going to have, the more you can focus on actually doing the damn videos and being brilliant with your content. Because and you know what, if I do podcasts like 3 or 4 times a week, I have sirens happen all the time outside, like, fire department, whatever. And it's part of life. I mean, and I'm like, okay, I get street cred. People actually see that this is not just a New York, skyline. I actually am in New York. So.
Love it. We're East Coasters, Jersey and New York. We are the bombs out here, right? So funny, so funny. Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway that Nina just said is that if you really want to do the video, keep it simple. Don't get over crazy with the equipment. Just do it. Really, really just do it. And that's that. And you'll find what you like. You'll find the angle, you'll find the lighting, you'll find, but you gotta just get in there and go and do it. We really are out of time, Nina. Thank you so much. So much great information. Videos here, man, guys. You got to get on it. Don't, the train is leaving the station. Jump on. Yeah.
So run.
Yeah. Run and catch it. Do not let it get away. If you'd like more information about Nina and her company, go to Clockwise Productions. That's plural.com. And if you have a specific question for Nina, it's Nina at clockwiseproductions.com. No worries. I promise I will put that information into the show notes for everybody to find, easy peasy. Again, have a conversation with Nina. If there's something you're thinking about or you're teetering, where we get to that point of like, I know I need to do it. I really don't want to do it. You're in that frame of that, comfort zone. We're challenging our comfort zone. Have a conversation with Nina. She's lovely. She's amazing to talk to. And again, she can help you really figure out maybe what content to start with and help you with the lighting and all of those things. She keeps it easy and fun. And I can guarantee you will have fun when you talk to Nina. Right?
Yes.
That's a given. That's a given. If you work with Nina, you have to be able to have a little fun and have a sense of humor, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate. This is important information. And I think because it's technology, our instinct is, oh, I don't think I could do that. Oh, I don't know if I could perfect that. Oh, I don't know, that fear, because it's challenging our comfort zone. So thank you for breaking it down and making it easy and fun, which 2 of my favorite words, right?
There we go. Yes, mine too.
You got it. Yeah. Thank you again, my friends, for being on. And thank you all for joining me weekly as we question, build, and discover together that you've got this, right? Whatever growth you're looking for, whether it's in your business, in your career, in your personal life, I really hope that the show, my guests, myself, the tips, ideas, and strategies that we share, please take one. Try it, play with it, experiment, be curious. That's when the magic starts happening. Don't just listen to the information and say, oh, that was good content. That was a great conversation. Take a tip. Use it, apply it, because I want to see you get results. That's what the show is about for me, helping you move your needle, creating the change in your life, whatever that means to you, and moving that needle of results, hopefully making more money, growing your business, or advancing your career. Nina, thank you again for being on. I truly appreciate our conversation and the wonderful tips you shared. And thank you all for tuning in, Changing the Sales Game podcast with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. I truly am honored to have you on this journey with me. And I do always hope that my guests, myself, that we do provide some idea or strategy that you think, ooh, I can do that, and then go and do it. That's the magic for me when you guys execute some of the ideas we share during the show. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Nina, thank you for being an amazing guest, and I'll see everybody next week. Have a great week, everybody.